say better late than never, and two is better than none. Welcome into a Friday night edition of Smack Talk here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and the Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel. Rick Ucchino, Dutch Mantell with you guys here. SP3 will be back next week. He's already in Greensboro, North Carolina for AEW Revolution this weekend. I'll be joining him there on Sunday. I haven't left town yet, so you guys get my smiling face this evening, as well as Dutch Mantell as we recap an action-packed Friday Night SmackDown. What's going on, Dutch?
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, let me apologize for my camera work. No, I don't know what's wrong with this camera. I'm going to have to get Sportskeeda to come off that nickel a little bit and get me another camera.
I blame you, sir.
This is top of the line anyway. But listen, you're not watching it to see me. You're watching it or listening to it to see what I'm going to say. And I want to say tonight, this is the longest in-ring to start a WWE show that I've ever seen. But it was done so well, so masterful, that nobody cared. Really, nobody wanted it to end, really. It was getting a little tedious at the end, but they had them from go to woe. And that part of Paul Heyman in there, you could tell Roman said, hey, let's go. And he said, no, we can't go right now. And then you're thinking, oh, God, now they've slided the Rock. Now they're going to have to answer for that. So that held them through the break. And when the Rock came out, how long did it take him to get in the ring? 2 minutes at least?
If memory serves correct, because I was timing this, because by the time that Paul Heyman said the Rock is coming out, but we're going to go to commercial break, that was at like 12 after, 13 after. So literally nothing happened for the first 12 minutes of the show. We had a recap of Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns came down. He asked the crowd in Phoenix there, or excuse me, dang it, what's the city next? Glendale, thank you. I kept wanting to say Greenview for some reason. Ask the crowd in Glendale, like, hey, acknowledge me 3 times.
If you get off that cocaine like the rest of those people were, you may be able to remember something.
But yeah, he asked the crowd 3 times if they will acknowledge him, and they didn't do it to his liking, and he was ready to get out of there, and that was it. That's literally what the first 12 minutes of the show was. Then we go to commercial break. Then we come back, and The Rock comes out. I think it was 10:20 before The Rock ever said a word.
Yeah. But they kept waiting to see what he was going to say. And, brother, he hit some one-liners in there that were classic. I like when he called them crackhead Karens. That was good.
Karens was one, yeah. Meth Head Mary was another.
I don't know about your reception, but my reception kept going. It'd go black for 5 seconds, then it'd come back in, then it would go black again, and then did yours do that?
Yeah. So apparently, according to PW Insider, there was a Die Rocky Die sign in the crowd that they were trying to censor. So that is why the camera kept cutting out. And then anytime that the crowd would scream an obscenity or something like that, that's when the audio would cut out. And this, honestly, is why I'm glad that SmackDown is moving off of Fox within the next year, so we can get a little bit of leeway here on the USA Network that we don't get on Fox when SmackDown is on. Because the trying to censor a wrestling show, my goodness, man. It, like, every time they're sitting there trying to cut at, it's like, it was at least 10 times that the screen went black and you missed part of what The Rock was saying tonight. It was very annoying, and it took away from the enjoyment of the segment for me. It was irritating.
Well, it made me think, what the hell is he saying, or what is going on here? Because it's not like one blackout. It was continuous, about 10, I think, if I counted them up. Well, I didn't count them, but it seemed like 10 at least. So you say they had a sign in the crowd and they didn't want to see that?
That's what PW Insider is saying, yes.
Well, why didn't they just put the camera on The Rock and leave it for a while?
I don't know. I'm not the guy behind the.
I'm just saying, but seemed like, but it created more questions than it, than what they got an answer for. But anyway, I thought it was when The Rock got there.
I'm sure the people in the production truck are going to be very happy when they're not on Fox anymore. I'll say that much.
When but what The Rock had to say, and he promoted Dallas and Memphis strongly.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight we're sold out. He says Dallas is sold out. Memphis is sold out, and they called it his town. He called it his town, Memphis, his town. And they'll love that in Memphis. So, but anyway, I enjoyed the show. I think after the first segment went about 40 minutes or more, 42 minutes.
It was 40 minutes flat from what I had. I had 40 minutes flat. We get The Rock out there. He wasn't just playing the hits tonight. Like it's almost like he really took to heart what Seth Rollins and some of the other people have been saying about his promo work. He still came out there with his shtick, but he's developed it and he's added to it. He says Phoenix leads the nation in cocaine and meth users in the United States, and he's finally going to give them something worth shooting into their veins. Like that was a really good line. That was a really, really, really good line.
Okay, wait a minute. You're saying that, wait a minute. What has Seth Rollins been saying about The Rock? And he just got his punchline.
Did you not see The Rock's 21-minute video he put out on social media today?
Well, no, I had other things to do. You got time to watch that? Who put it out? The Rock?
The Rock did. The Rock shot a 21 before he came out and did a 40-minute segment tonight. The Rock put together a 21-minute video that he shot in his trailer or something and put it out on social media. And honestly, it was quite brilliant because what it did was it covered all of the loopholes and loose ends and ran down everything that Seth Rollins has been saying about him in media interviews and put a couple of clips there. Ran down all of the stuff that Dave LaGreca has been saying about him on Sirius XM Busted Open Radio, and he ran him down on that.
Ran who down on? He ran. Who was the second one he ran down on radio?
Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio.
Okay. Well, that's
basically told
okay.
Go ahead. Out told Cody to fuck his story. Like he ran down everything. So he went and he did that, and then put on the show that he did tonight. But basically, what Seth has been saying is, The Rock's just coming back. He's been doing the same shtick for 20 years. He doesn't say anything new. He just comes out there and plays the hits, and he gets a pop, and he goes home. That's basically what he says that The Rock did. So he didn't do that tonight. That's for sure. He had some fun with the crowd, was getting a mixed reaction. It's funny. They started cheering him more when he called them crackheads. It's such a weird.
They're wrestling fans. Yeah, they're wrestling fans. They know, but now he's going to have to do something to really turn them, and he will. And this is a work in progress. So what he did tonight, he just laid the steps down for the next 2 weeks at least. So I think whatever rating that SmackDown got tonight, I think it will get bigger next week. It will get bigger the next week as we lead toward WrestleMania. Now, this is what I like about wrestling. See, I was in the business for God knows how many years, but yet I don't really know what they're going to do because I'm out guessing. But I do know that they could take a number of doors now, and you got the personnel who can do it. Because when I'm interested in hear what The Rock is saying, the average Joe wrestling fan across the country is more interested than I am. I finally find, I think The Rock, I'm not going to go into this now, but I don't know how long they saw this coming with The Rock and all the things that happened with Vince and behind the scenes. But they seem well prepared for whatever was going to happen, because The Rock, he was on his game tonight. And that Roman standing there playing the second fiddle, it looks like, for a while.
Yeah.
And then The Rock says, you know, anything you say in wrestling, I acknowledge you as the tribal chief. In back of everybody's mind, they can't wait till the turn comes, which will probably be 9 months or a year down the line, if he lasts that long. What do you say?
I'm sorry, I was reading something in the chat. What was the question again?
You're not even listening to me. I'm making a hell of a point.
I'm trying to monitor the chat at the same time. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Well, I don't even have the chat here. How do I get the chat? Can I get the chat here?
You gotta be logged in. Anyway, just ask me the question again.
No, it wasn't a question. I was just talking. And then I wrapped it up. And I'm not going to say it again because now I can't even remember what I said.
Well, you asked me what I thought.
You got to remember, I've been hit on the head a couple 100,000 times.
A couple 100,000.
I know what I was going to say. I love his description of Seth Rollins when he called him what, a midget emoji? Or what did he call him?
Clown shoes emoji, I believe is what, or clown show emoji, I believe is what he called it. It was varying degrees of the word clown and then emoji.
It was great. The clown emoji. That was great.
So, after we do the whole playing with the crowd bit, it was probably about, I'd say, a half hour into the show tonight until The Rock finally got to the whole point of the promo. He addresses Cody Rhodes' challenge that he laid down at Elimination Chamber, and he says, you want to go one-on-one with The Rock? The Rock says, no. There are a lot of people who want to go one-on-one with The Rock, including every crackhead Karen and meth head Mary in the audience tonight. Not going to happen, but he lays down the challenge. And it seems, while not official, we're getting what we all hoped we would get here at this point. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns on night one. But here's what I love about this, Dutch. They added some stakes to it. It ain't just a blood feud type of thing. Like, hey, let's throw this down and, just do it for the sake of booking The Rock on the show. Now there's a point to putting the match on, because if Cody's team wins, Cody is guaranteed. We'll get the lawyers signed, sealed, and delivered. Cody versus Roman Reigns one-on-one. Cody has been saying for a year, if it was Cody versus Roman one-on-one, Cody would have been victorious at WrestleMania 39. He had him dead to rights, even with all the BS, until Solo Sikoa came out. If The Rock's team wins, then it's bloodline rules. Anything goes, including Solo Sikoa singing the national anthem, which the crowd there in Glendale, Arizona got a nice little chuckle out of. Very nuanced promo from The Rock tonight. He was getting boos. He was getting cheers. He was making people laugh. He was definitely on top of his game. But I absolutely love this because it sets up so many options. So many options for what they can do. And I'm sitting here looking in the chat, and this is part of the thing where I got lost in the fact of the chat. It's like you got people saying that, Seth is going to end up turning on Cody, or, The Rock is a double agent. He's a sleeper agent. Everybody keeps pointing to the fact that he keeps holding up the L when everybody else holds up, the one finger when they're doing the bloodline thing. He's putting up an L, and he definitely did it on purpose tonight. Everybody is looking at so many different things. Yeah, exactly. That's
an L. I'm just saying.
But everybody keeps looking at all these different things. They're saying, oh, well, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. So to your point, there's so many different ways that they could go with it. But the fact of the matter is we're going to get The Rock competing at WrestleMania, and this is going to have huge ramifications on the main event for night 2.
I'm going to predict the finish. I think Cody loses. The team loses the first night, and I think they beat Cody the first night and kind of injure him. Then they stack that deck against him on the second night, and somehow, some way, Cody feels the inner stirrings of his daddy, Dusty, and somehow he comes from way back down deep somewhere, and he wins that second night. And that's what I think.
I would tend to agree with you because I don't think it's going to be a complete loss for the Bloodline that weekend, because then there's like nowhere to go from that point. You need to have the fracture point that leads to Rock and
What do
Roll.
you mean? What do you mean a complete loss for the Bloodline?
They're not going to get swept. They're not going to lose everything. It's not going to be. Yeah, they're not going to be. It's not going to be Cody and Seth reign supreme night one. You got to have like your Empire Strikes Back moment before you can have your Return to the Jedi moment. The reverse of what we had last year. It was all happy, good feels at the end of night one when Sammy and KO won the tag team titles.
This is pro wrestling. This is not the movies. You need to draw a distinction there, but I get your point.
It's all storytelling, Dutch. It's all the same.
That's all it is. And I think what a lot of people will call it anyway, but you don't know it till you see it. And that's what's going to jam them in there. I would like to get a ticket for that second night, because I think that crowd will be electric.
Oh,
I think they'll be electric the first night. So I think this is Cody's crowning moment, and I think he'll win, and the Bloodline disappears. He leaves in the ring, and the ring fills up, and everybody's cheering and happy, and send them home that way, and then Raw and SmackDown will be it. They're off and running now. Now, by this time, they have all their other stuff built up, but they can run off this for the next year.
Oh, easily.
They've run off the Bloodline for a year and a half already, or 2 years, right?
Longer than that at this point. I'll say this. I think you're right about night one. I think Rock and Roman will win that and just stack the deck against Cody even more. Make it absolutely insurmountable. And on top of that, wound and injure Seth Rollins to the point where he's now a hobbling duck heading into his match with Drew McIntyre, which sets up for him to lose to Drew McIntyre on night two. So he drops the world title. So there are significant ramifications for Cody, for Seth Rollins, which adds to the storyline, right? Because Rollins is putting everything on the line to help out Cody and fight against the Bloodline, which I think will ultimately be the story of the main event. You're going to have Cody seemingly one-on-one against everybody trying to fight back. And
okay, is Cody hurt?
No, I don't even think he needs to be hurt. He doesn't need to be hurt. He just needs to be outgunned and outnumbered, and that's when the WWE locker room comes to his aid, and that's what Cody has been doing. It hasn't, and that's been the whole undertone of what Seth has been saying to him is like, look, you don't have to fight this battle alone. You're going to see the Sami Zayns and the Jey Usos and everybody else that the Bloodline has screwed over, the Kevin Owens. All those guys are going to come out and help level the playing field and allow Cody his one-on-one path. Kind of like the end to Avengers Endgame, not to keep going back to the movies, right? But you had Captain America staring down the entire army and Thanos standing right there, insurmountable odds, and then everybody from the blip comes back, and all of a sudden it's a level playing field and the fight is on. I think that is what they could be building up to, is this huge, massive, chaos-filled main event, similar to how when Mick Foley won the world title on Monday Night Raw, where you had DX on the outside and the corporation, and then here comes Stone Cold down, and it's just massive chaos and the crowd's losing their mind. I would not be surprised if we get something that chaotic to close out the show.
That's what they need. They need that, because I think this helps Cody. It helps everybody. And you can tell tonight by listening to The Rock, he's really enthusiastic about this. He is ready to go. And he's ready to burn the buildings down. And the people are wanting him to do it. So I think it's going to be I think this run right now that WWE is having is probably the best run they've ever had, even back in the Attitude Era. Don't you think? I think the people I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have I'm trying to think how I want to say this. The Attitude Era, they love what it they have a romantic relationship with the Attitude Era. They remember it being better than what it was.
Yep.
Because even Triple H himself in one of those press conferences recently said, hey, some of that Attitude Era stuff sucked. And everybody thinks the Attitude Era was this huge, perfect, groundbreaking landscape moment. And it definitely had its moments. But I'll say right now, with the groove that they're on, with as many baby faces that they have that are over, with how this WrestleMania card already feels like it's the biggest that's ever been put together, and we only have 4 confirmed matches and 5 for sure, right? And there's still going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 10 to 11 more added on top of that, which we'll talk about a few of those coming up. And what they're doing now, the nuanced storytelling that they're setting up right now, because not only have they perfectly set up night 1 main event this year and night 2 main event for this year, I think they have set it up for their WrestleMania main event in 41 next year, wherever that's going to be, because we saw the teaser tonight, Dutch, when The Rock was finishing out his speech and he leans down to do if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and then Roman goes, hold up.
Brother, they don't get in a hurry, do they?
No. Like, I thought this segment was over. We have 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
He leans down. He stops The Rock. Paul Heyman's face just has absolute terror written all over it. His facial expressions were spectacular tonight, as they always are. And The Rock says, Roman says, I will do anything for family, but I need one thing from you. I need you to acknowledge me. And this was such a big thing, Dutch, because perception is everything. And from the moment The Rock arrived, Roman Reigns in the eyes of many has looked like the number 2. And for The Rock to look into his face and say, I acknowledge you, Roman Reigns, as my tribal chief, was huge for this setup for WrestleMania. But it could have even bigger ramifications down the line if and when Roman loses at WrestleMania.
I think the wrestling brain just works differently than everybody else's brain, because they're figuring out, hey, this could open the door for this, and this could open the door for that. Yeah, it could. But that's what you want. If you're a booker, you want all those doors wide open, and you don't want to lock any of them. So that was probably one of the greatest segments of wrestling I've ever seen on a TV show. It was well done, beautifully done, and nobody got in a hurry, and they hung on every word. Because I'm sitting there, I should have bought a ticket, really. I was sitting there and saying, damn, this is good. But I gotta say that I think everybody that saw that, now they're thinking about WrestleMania, and they're going to take it. And I think if they just do it by the book, people will be happy, and they'll just continue down the road. So you got to give them the bone every now and then. And I think WrestleMania, the second night, they get the bone. The meat's already gone. They've chewed it all off. Now they give the bone. Now we restart the story. Except Cody's story is over. But now
he's gonna. I think he's gonna win. I think he has to win this year.
He has to win this one.
Yeah. And look, and everybody in the chat who's saying is Sylvester Stallone coming? There are rumors.
You don't need him.
Well, hang on. There's like some kind of involvement with Sylvester Stallone, and and I get it with it being Philadelphia and it being the whole Rocky series, and even this plays into the fact that Rocky didn't beat Apollo Creed in the first movie. He beat him in the second one, and there's the similarities and everything with Cody. I think if Stallone does get involved, I think it would be great for him to be part of like the opening video package. I don't think he needs to be involved.
I read where he's not going to do it because of a schedule conflict.
I mean, he can record a voiceover.
Well, he can do that, but I'm saying not to be there. But they said he can't. Well, maybe they said he can't be there because of a conflict in scheduling.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking maybe he'll be involved with like the opening video package or something like that. I don't see why they couldn't do that.
No, they could do that.
I think if you did some kind of training video with Cody doing the whole Rocky shtick, doing the warm-up thing with, literally anybody could be maybe Seth is playing his coach, playing that Mickey role. And it ends with him running up the steps and, do the whole Rocky training montage video package with Cody Rhodes and Sylvester Stallone doing the opening monologue. I think that's how you open up WrestleMania. Personally, that's how I would do it.
If he did the voiceover for it, it'd be perfect.
Oh, it'd be great.
Really would.
It'd be great. We actually did get some wrestling on the show. I love all the comments in the chat, guys. Keep talking amongst yourselves. If you got any questions for Dutch? I've highlighted a couple. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can throughout the show today. We did have some wrestling on the show. We did. Yes, believe it or not, we did. Our opening contest tonight was Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. Now, according to Fightful, by the way, believe it or not, Dutch, that opening segment went long.
Really?
It was not scheduled to go 40 minutes. So some of the show was trimmed down a little bit. Tiffany Stratton and Naomi.
Hey, some of those breaks were extra long, too. They had to get their stuff in.
Tiffany barely got a TV entrance. Naomi was already in the ring for this contest when we came back from commercial break. I think it all came down to timing. First bell for the opening contest rang at 8:45 p.m. That might be a new record for Friday Night SmackDown. These ladies only got about 8 minutes to do their thing tonight, but I thought they maximized their time, Dutch. I thought they both got their stuff in. They looked really good. I love the story that they told. I love Tiffany using the heel tactics to get the win, but I'm wondering how much longer they're going to be able to stick with her doing that, because the crowd loves her. She was over at Elimination Chamber. I think she opened a lot of eyes. For being such an annoying character, Dutch, the crowd has fallen in love with her talent, and they want to cheer for her. That's interesting to see how WWE moves forward.
It reminds me a lot during my working days when I would go out there. I wanted the people to boo me, but they would just all cheer, give me money, hand me bottles of whiskey and gifts, and it was hard to try to get them to dislike me. So I do find that facet of her personality a lot like mine, because I know what she's going through. But they do like her, and you can see, just if you have never seen wrestling before and you sit down and you watch her and the way she looks and the way she moves like a star. And even though it's early in her career right now, but she's going to be a big, big star. Huge.
I think you could give her a one-on-one match at WrestleMania this year, and it wouldn't be too big for her. Like I genuinely believe
maybe
that.
They will.
I would not be surprised if they did, because Bianca still needs a match. Bianca Belair was not on the show tonight, which I found to be very interesting. There are, there are 4 or 5 SmackDowns left to build out the rest of this card. And right now, I would say Legado del Fantasma versus LWO, some kind of match between those two factions is a safe bet. Outside of that, I'm not quite sure what's going to be put on the books from the SmackDown side of things. But Bianca Belair has been all over the advertising. She was at the press conference in Las Vegas. They have done a lot of the marketing surrounding her, a heck of a lot more than Bayley, who is won the Royal Rumble and has got a match on the show. So I got to figure Belair is going to play an integral part in the show. They've already teased a little bit of a rivalry between her and Tiffany. Why not have Tiffany and Bianca go one-on-one at WrestleMania? You got two nights, 8 hours, 16 matches. Why not?
How many weeks before WrestleMania?
The 5.
Well, they got time, but they're going to have to shoot that in the next week or 2. No more than that, because they got to announce it. Because that puts a time limit on how long they can not announce that. But I think that but if you just announced it, they don't got to do a big one, a big angle. Just announce it. and I'd be interested in seeing it myself.
I mean, all you got to do is have Bianca issue a challenge.
Or slap her.
Something.
I like that. Yeah.
I mean,
anything. It don't matter.
Literally anything. Literally anything. Set it up. I mean, I know Bianca's going to have a match. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. I'm interested to see what the heck they got coming up with Naomi, because I don't know. First one eliminated from Elimination Chamber. Now she's losing to Tiffany Stratton, even though she got cheated tonight. It just feels like they got way too much talent. They can't push everybody at once, and you're gonna start pissing some people off. I'm already seeing people on social media who are pissed off with how they're booking Naomi since her return. And oof, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch that one. The next match we had tonight was Bayley and Dakota Kai versus the Kabuki Warriors. And it didn't take Sherlock Holmes to see this one coming, Dutch. We talked about it.
I think it's a week too early, or maybe maybe not in timing. But hey, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked, and I just had gone somewhere. I was watching TV. I went in the kitchen, or I went somewhere. Came back, and I says, "Yeah, I just see it coming. She's going to turn on her." In the next 30 seconds, that's when it happened. I said, "Well, damn! I thought he'd give it at least a week."
Yeah, but the entire match tonight, the way they almost telegraphed it, the way that they produced the match, the way they booked the match, because Bayley started it, and for 6 minutes she's eating heat and eating some incredible double team tag team maneuvers. By the way, Asuka and Kairi Sane are so good as a tag team together; it's ridiculous. Ridiculously smooth double team maneuvers that they're hitting on Bayley. There was one point where it looked like Bayley was going to get the tag, and then she gets shoved into Dakota, and then Dakota gets knocked down, and she's out of the match for another 3 minutes. It was like, okay, they're building to something. And finally, Bayley gets to make the tag, and then Dakota does the whole, boop, I'm going to jump off the apron here. And Bayley, you could see it. Bayley's so masterful with her facial expressions. She just looked at Dakota like, damn it, I cannot believe I fell for that. I cannot believe you sold me. I didn't trust you, and then I did, and I knew I shouldn't. And at that point, it was a 4-on-1 beatdown, and they leave Bayley laying. And now one of the things that everybody's talking about here in the chat, and y'all are throwing out so many comments, it's hard for me to keep going. But one of the ones that I did see is who is going to come to the defense of Bayley at this point. Bayley is fighting a huge uphill battle now, Dutch. It is 4-on-1. It is her versus
that creates another opportunity. That creates another opportunity for another babyface. And it's just another thing. I'm saying a wrestling fan's minds operates different than other people's. Now they're thinking about that. Who's going to fill in that spot? Who's going to do this? That's the beauty of wrestling. Because you can sit back, and I've had wrestling fans tell me, said they sit back and debate it for hours and hours and hours. See, they would try to talk to me about it. I said, guys, please, I got to go down the street. I ain't got time listening. But that was their pastime. So now they can pull somebody that needs the rub, needs the push, stick them in there. May surprise you.
Ozzy saying, will Jade help Bayley? We did see Jade Cargill backstage. They had a nice, a brief stare down with Damage Control. I think maybe that was more of a Jade kind of doing her teaser thing, like, hey, one day I'm going to be the women's champion, because she was staring. It wasn't like a Damage Control thing. It was like she was staring right at Io. That
girl, how tall is she?
Tall.
6 foot? At least
I'm not sure. I'll look real quick.
Because she looked
5'10".
Those little Japanese girls looked like damn near midgets next to her.
Yeah, she's 5'10".
She's right there at it. So, but she's
about the same size as Charlotte. Charlotte's about 5'10" according to the net. So,
well, that'd be a good way to break her in. But maybe they don't want to do that. Hey, that's why they have a creative team.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting they can do what they want to do.
So my initial thought was, and this is before they brought in like all the extra ladies that they had brought up, before they brought up Tiffany and added onto and brought Naomi back and put them all on SmackDown. My thought would have been, okay, maybe you bring up somebody like a Roxanne Perez, and then you could put Alba Fire and Isla Dawn with Bayley, and you could have a new women's faction against Damage Control. But I feel like you have so many new women on the roster already to the point where I don't even know what they're doing with Naomi at this point. I feel like the story has to be, well, now, because who would, after what Bayley's done for the last 3 years, who would help Bayley? Like, Bianca Belair is the ultimate babyface. Wouldn't make any sense for Bianca Belair to just all of a sudden team up with Bayley after all the BS that Bayley put her through over the last 3 years. Like,
but they could carve it a certain way, and it would make all the sense in the world if they carved it right.
Yeah, if they framed it the right way. I think the story is going to be Bayley has now created this monster, and she has to fix her own problem. Bayley has not won a. Bayley has not won. I am not. Bayley has not won a match outside of the Royal Rumble itself. Bayley has not won a match clean or on her own in over 2 years, and now this is her moment where she gets to prove all the doubters wrong, including the people who kicked her out of her own creation. I don't think anybody's coming to help Bayley. I think it's going to be Bayley beating.
Okay, but now you got. Let me ask you this: now you got, if she's by herself, you got a Cody situation with her. Exactly. You're going to have 2 of them. You're going to have 2 of them. You can.
That's why I didn't want to say it earlier, but that's why I don't think it's going to be Cody versus the Universe, because I think they're going to have another version of that play out with Bayley versus Damage Control.
Well, we'll see.
I think Cody will have backup. I don't think Bayley will.
Is this a lot different session we're having now than what we had like 15 months ago?
Yes.
We were saying, God, that is awful. That is, can it suck anymore? And we were right. I mean, how much, and I was thinking one time, how much can we just knock the product before the people really just start agreeing? And the business wasn't good then. But they took their time, and now all this stuff has happened. And it's really exploded since the middle of January. So now we're looking at a brand new WWE. And The Rock gives it a new fresh breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it takes it to a different level, and it gives the company a much more a better figurehead, shall we say? And that's putting it lightly.
Are you saying that Vince wasn't a good figurehead? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Michael Pellisano, if I'm saying that right, Pesolano, excuse me. Sasha, question mark. No, Sasha is going to be debuting. Mercedes Moné, I should say, is going to be debuting in AEW in the next couple of weeks. That would make all the sense in the world if Sasha were able to come back, and maybe that's what they were kind of hoping to do, but she decided to sign in AEW.
You know what they run a risk with, Sasha? Her getting her way with WWE, because she walked out before it, even though it's a different regime. Mm-hmm. She walked out before, and now it looks like she's being rewarded to come back. And it was all Naomi, but hey, Naomi has connections. See what I mean? She could probably do that. And they all blame Sasha, I'm sure. Because
there was a lot of that. There was a fair amount of that.
But I think Naomi now with the bloodline and all this, I think they overlooked that. That's just doing business the best way you can.
David asking, is Alexa Bliss coming back? I would venture a guess yes. When? I don't know. I believe she had her baby in December.
But you just said they had more girls than they could use.
I meant to like introduce somebody new at this point.
Okay.
I would guess both Alexa Bliss and Carmella will be back sometime this year, but I don't know for sure. I'm not inside their heads. I'm not reporting anything. I'm just saying if I had to guess, I'd say, yeah, they'll be back at some point later this year. We did have a super chat. I want to make sure I get to that from Roland Curtis. Are the ratings as high as the Attitude Era? If this era's ratings are lower than the Attitude Era, then how can this era be greater? The Attitude Era was a huge part of pop culture. This era is not. Dutch, look, as you can well attest to, today's TV landscape is vastly totally different with streaming services and not everybody being on cable and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, 10 million people used to tune into Monday Night Raw because they had like 4 options. Now with DVRs and people watching on YouTube and people catching up on other different streaming services.
Now, Roland knows that. I don't know. He asked the question that he readily knows the answer for. There's a lot of ratings that are not the same as was years ago. See, Memphis TV back in the buggy whip days, they would do a 21 rating. You couldn't get a 1 rating now out of a local TV in Memphis. And the same way with the Attitude Era, they were on at a time. And like you said, their viewing options were limited. And they would do, I think between WCW and Raw, they were doing like 11 million people, viewers between them, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. I know like during the peak, like Raw was getting like 10 million. I believe. I might be misremembering that, but
what I'm going by is just, I really love that first interview tonight. And that to me is the beauty of being a wrestling fan. So they can come out there and totally, when they said The Rock was going to be there, everybody says, okay, that's the key to watch. Let's see what he says. And you're waiting for something, and he delivered. Now let's see what Cody does. Where are they next week in Dallas? Let's see if Cody has an answer next week.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be a question. I think they're going to say yes to that. Kevin was the guy, by the way, who asked earlier, who do you guys think is going to help Bayley? I don't think it's going to be anybody. But if I had to guess, they got to find a way to get Naomi and Bianca and a few other people on the card. So maybe we'll see somebody else who's already currently on SmackDown. But I still got a feeling it's going to be nobody. I think she's going to have to overcome her own creation on her own and earn this championship win. We saw Bron Breakker for all of 5 seconds tonight, Dutch. Blink and you miss it match against Zion Quinn.
I like that name.
Not a lot to really say about. Actually, I don't think we've seen Zion Quinn in like a year almost. I think if memory serves correct, I think he got drafted to Raw last year.
Where's he from?
He was on NXT for a while.
Is he under contract? I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's under contract. He was in NXT. He was an up-and-comer. I believe he got drafted to Raw and then never was put on TV. I think this is his first televised appearance since like May of last year. And he gets a spear and that's it. So I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Zion Quinn. That's all I really have to say about that. Bron Breakker's got a bright future on SmackDown, but I think this one was, I think if anything, Zion Quinn should be thanking The Rock for that promo going along because that ass whooping would have been a little bit longer without that opening segment. I'm honestly surprised this match didn't get cut in its entirety. By the way, one thing we didn't talk about, I love Grayson Waller throwing Austin Theory under the bus is like my new favorite thing now. Like the way that they set up his match with Randy Orton earlier, that backstage segment where they're watching Logan Paul knock him unconscious, and then Randy just kind of loses his mind a little bit and kind of tweaks out and says, you know, it'd be hilarious if I whoop one of y'all's asses tonight. And then Grayson Waller said, hey, you know, Theory was saying he'd love to wrestle you sometime. So why don't you guys go ahead and just do your thing and I'm going to back away. I freaking love that Grayson's just that schmarmy little shit that'll throw Austin Theory under the bus any chance that he gets. We did get a street fight tonight, Dutch. Carlito defeating Santos Escobar. I thought this was a lot of fun. Crowd was looking for the tables early. These two did their work, but the story tonight was Rey Mysterio coming back. They really set this up. with Angel and Humberto getting involved, and then, you know, Joaquin and Cruz coming down to level the playing field. It looked like Legado del Fantasma was going to have the upper hand. They were going to put Carlito away, put him through the table. Booyaka, booyaka. Rey Mysterio comes down. Crowd loses their damn mind. He's on his crutches, but we all knew he was faking it. Of course, Angel and Humberto didn't know that he was faking it, so they go down to beat up a hobbled man. And he whoops their ass with that crutch.
The heels are always the stupidest people in the building. Everybody knew he was faking it, except those two dumbass heels who go down, oh, well, just whoop your ass here since you're disabled. And then he just pulls the crutch off and just beats the crap out of him.
Yep.
Because we expected it. But even though you expect it, the people popped. They loved that. So, and they had a pretty good match. I think they have worn those matches out a little bit. You've seen them so much. And sometimes people do tables and this and that and the other. I'm going to ask you a question. Who used the first table?
I have no idea.
Does anybody know?
I'm sure SP3 does, but he's not here.
Well, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to text him tonight and ask him that. But that is our question for the night. Who in professional wrestling used the first table? Now, they had a table in Memphis. I don't know if it was the first one. They broke it by accident. And I don't know if somebody saw that or let's do it and this is probably 30 years ago. But
30 years ago, that would have been 1994.
No, before that, say 40 years ago. At least 84. That's when they broke it. And I think Lawler was involved in it, and it broke, and somebody saw it, or he did it again. But that's what I remember. I don't know the answer either. So I'm asking our listeners, do they know? But you don't know, do you?
No, not off the top of my head, no.
What about the bottom of your head? Let's dig down deep.
I could check there too, but going back, the farthest I can find, just doing a quick Google search, might have been.
Wait a minute, you're cheating.
What? You're looking at the answer.
No, you're looking at Google.
Yeah, you told me to find the answer. I ain't gonna find it in my head.
You know the answer.
No,
which is basically the same thing.
So
okay, go ahead.
I turned to my buddy the internet. Well, I closed the screen now. 1984 was the earliest. Ricky Morton pile driving. Might have been Randy Savage through a table in Memphis.
I think it was vice versa.
Either way,
Savage and Ricky. That may have been right.
Yeah,
that's the
earliest. That's the earliest that I found.
Okay, I think I was there that night. Of course, I got all excited, run out there to help Ricky, and then I turned on him, big angle. You know, we did like sellouts the rest of the year. Those people.
Well, we got a table spot tonight. We got the 619 after Rey took out Angel and Humberto with that crutch. He laid into those boys tonight. He gets in the ring, hits Santos with the 619. Carlito spine busters him through the table, pins him for the 1, 2, 3. Everybody in the LWO raises their hands up. So obviously this faction war here is going to go into WrestleMania. I'm going to be interested to see what match comes out of this. Do they do Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar one-on-one, or do they involve every member of the faction and do a huge multi-man tag match?
Well, I think somehow, some way, they're stacking WrestleMania. I think Rey's mask has to be at stake. Something like that. And the other guy's got to put something up, or the other guy won't give him a match. But I think Rey's mask, and Rey has done a tremendous job with protecting the mask and the Mexican heritage and the belief about the mask. But Hell, you might go to a Mexican show with Mexican wrestlers. I want to tell you something else just a minute. Hell, they might have 16 guys on the card and 14 of them have masks on. So it's nothing different down there. Okay, CMLL now is going to have all their Mexican wrestlers that they're sending up to work in Texas and some of those border states.
Okay.
They don't have a visa to work. And now they're going to pull them all back. They're not able to work, or they will completely close the promotion down. So, but AEW uses some of those guys, right? And sometimes it can take months and months and months to get a visa. So good luck. Good luck to them. Hope they're well.
We did get Nick Aldis backstage tonight. He was talking with New Catch Republic. New Catch Republic was asking about getting a rematch for the tag team titles after they got screwed at Elimination Chamber. Nick Aldis said, "Don't know if I could give you a rematch at WrestleMania. That might be a tall order." But he said that he and Adam Pearce were going to have an announcement about the tag team titles soon. Now, Dutch, I saw a lot of people immediately go on Twitter and start asking or start saying something to the line of, "Oh, please split up the tag team titles. Please split up the tag team titles. Please split up the tag team titles." What I'm wondering is if that may not necessarily be what they would be going for here. It could be. It legitimately could be. My thought on this is maybe they're going to be announcing a mini tournament type situation here to determine who the number one contenders are going to be. And this would be the idea that I brought up on last week's show, where you bring back the tag team showcase matches from last year. Remember last year at WrestleMania, they had a women's tag team showcase and a men's tag team showcase, and they literally just threw them together at the last minute. And everybody crapped on them like, "Oh, it's, it's a charity match, this, that, and the other thing. It doesn't make any sense. You're just putting people on the card for the sake of putting people on the card." Those two matches ended up being some of the most entertaining matches that they had of the entire weekend because the talent in those matches were spectacular. If they actually put some thought into those and put some stakes on them, they could be a WrestleMania staple. So I would not be surprised here is if they brought them back and they did a men's showcase and a women's showcase each on night one. The winners challenge the tag team title holders on night two at WrestleMania.
I love your thought. I am not a big fan of those tournaments like that. But if you build up to it, and they got the talent. Oh, they have the talent. But now, don't you think this? Hey, you can't go by fans. They're gonna crap on it for any reason. Because I think they're like me. If they not are really interested in a match, they don't want to see it. Like to me, a tag team tournament with teams with not a lot of history and they're just there, it doesn't interest me. Unless they do something. I like it. Maybe they could have just a Texas Hold'em tournament. And the top two winners, they get the match. But now it's entertaining if they could come up with a scenario. It's not wrestling, but it's entertaining. So we could see how it could be.
Look, the men's divisions, especially, you got 8 teams deep on both Raw and SmackDown, which I can understand why people want to see the tag team title split up, because now you have a division on each brand that is, worthy of having 2 separate tag team championships. But I love the idea here, if they're not going to go that direction, of just having people competing to be on the WrestleMania card and making that such a big deal, where you could have qualifying matches. And that's why I said a mini tournament. You could have qualifying matches for these. Have these guys go out there and throw their, hearts on the line just to make it to the WrestleMania card, to make it to the showcase match, win the showcase match, and then get the tag team title opportunity. Go ahead.
I have an idea. I have a radical idea. Radical.
Yes.
you've seen America's Got Talent,
Mm-hmm.
and they vote on it. Don't the fans vote on it? On the phone, you can call a certain. That's what I would do. I would have the fans.
Sunday?
Huh?
Cyber Sunday?
Is that what they did?
That's what they did years ago. It was way ahead of its time.
I'd do it again.
Oh,
why, you don't like the idea?
No, I love the idea. I think it would work perfect now. That's what I'm saying. It would work perfect now. It was way ahead of its time back when they did it. They'd have fans vote on opponents and different types of stipulations that the matches could have. I'm sure they rigged the contest every once in a while, but yeah.
But this one here, let's say this. They're going to pick, say it's 3 teams. So they got to have 3 different matches and let the fans pick who wins. Doesn't matter who wins. They got a time limit of, say, 8 minutes. So you don't usually get somebody pinned within 8 minutes. So if they go through to the 8 minutes and have the fans pick the winner, or a team could lose and still get picked by the fans. So anyway, it's something different.
They are doing that WWE speed thing, right? That they're going to be doing on their social media channels where they're doing 5-minute matches. Maybe they can incorporate that in somehow.
Okay, 5 minutes. Explain that to me.
That's all I know about it. It's something that WWE is putting out, I believe, on Twitter or YouTube or something. It's just one of the social media channels, and it's just going to be talents doing 5-minute matches. So it's just quick 5-minute, high octane matches. So maybe you could do something like that. And if you're incorporating a vote, you're already there on social media anyway. There might be something you could do with that.
Well, it's just a thought. And the worst idea, I always heard this about booking. The worst idea sometimes is the idea that's not pitched. So pitch it and have everybody say, "Oh, that's no good. That's the craps. Get the hell out of here." But at least you pitched it. But sometimes you may pitch an idea that reminds somebody else of something that reminds somebody else that maybe we could go this way, and you may get a coherent idea out of it, even though it started out bad.
Yeah.
But I've never pitched any bad ideas, I don't think.
Oh, of course not. No, absolutely not. Michael talking about my idea for the qualifiers and the tag team title match. They would have announced all that by now. They've only announced.
How does he know that?
They've only have announced 5 matches for the entire card. We don't even know who Gunther's fighting yet. We don't know what the U.S. title match is going to be. We know what it's going to be, but we don't know.
Announce it 2 weeks out.
The last matches that they announced, the showcase matches last year, were announced 4 days out. I'm saying they got 5 weeks. They could announce it on Raw and have the first 3 matches to qualify on Raw. Like, they could do it if they want. They got a whole month.
They could announce a whole new match on Friday Night SmackDown the Friday before WrestleMania.
They could. Sure, they could.
Don't tell us what they should do or would do. That's a good indication of, yeah, they can do what they want to do. And it doesn't change anything.
Justin saying that Sasha Banks is going to come back to Bayley's aid. I don't see that when she's under AEW contract. But, I digress. Final match of the night here, Dutch. Oh, wait, before I forget, there was also Nick Aldis's exchange with LA Knight tonight. LA Knight, I loved him storming the arena looking for AJ Styles with the exact chair that he got his ass whooped with in Australia. So I love that.
You really think that was the exact chair?
No, it wasn't. It probably wasn't the exact chair, but the fact that they made it look like it was the exact chair, I love that angle for LA Knight's, character. The fact that it's personal to him, so he wants to whoop his ass with the same chair that he got his ass whooped with, because it was definitely a warped chair that he got beat with, like, an eye for an eye type of thing. Like, LA Knight is coming for AJ Styles. Nick Aldis knew that. Nick Aldis told LA Knight that, hey, I told AJ not to be here tonight. And even alluding to the fact that those two have history with one another due to their time, in NWA together. So the fact that he's like, I know you, I knew to not have AJ Styles be here. And he's like, well, if you know me as well as you think you do, there's nothing that's going to stop this train from coming down the tracks. So it looks like we're going to get LA Knight versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. What I don't know is what that United States Championship match is going to be. My theory would be that it was going to be Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus in a triple threat match with Logan Paul involved. Logan Paul will be on the show next week, so maybe we'll get our answer. But Randy Orton's definitely going to be involved with Logan Paul at WrestleMania after Logan Paul knocked his ass out and cost him the shot at Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Randy Orton had his match against Austin Theory, and Kevin Owens was Orton's biggest cheerleader tonight, which with KO and Randy kind of on the same page and them standing tall at the end of the night, doesn't mean they couldn't turn it into an angle and make this a whole three-way section here, but I don't know. I'm wondering if Kevin's going to get this whole rivalry with Logan Paul kind of hijacked here by Randy Orton. Dutch. I did like the main event tonight. Kevin Owens was the best part of it because he's hilarious on commentary. Where do you think this could go with KO and Randy and Logan? And if KO's not involved in that match, what is Owens doing?
Well, he's got to be in that because they spent a whole match. He was on commentary. Right. So he has to be involved there somewhere. I really haven't put that much thought to it, but I wouldn't mind seeing a three-way with those guys because they could put a hell of a three-way together.
Sure could.
I mean, and the three-way is a lot. See, I can take three-ways because, you can figure that. They're not as hard to figure out. When you start taking tag teams, three-ways, that's a lot of bodies moving, a lot of bodies in motion, and you got to synchronize, and it's much sometimes harder to do than people think. Oh, if you see it and it's good, yeah, the guys know what they were doing. But I've seen a lot of matches of five ways or four ways, just singles, and they were all over the place. So we will see, but I think
the triple threat makes the most sense from what they have set up because they have been doing Logan Paul and Kevin Owens since October.
Yep.
I mean, they've been teasing this feud for months, and they have run it all the way up to the goal line of WrestleMania, and then to just have kind of Randy Orton swoop in and take the spot away from Kevin Owens.
Okay, Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, let's say they're head up at WrestleMania. What type of match?
If it was Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, just one-on-one?
Yep. What haven't they done?
I mean, it would have to be like after what happened at the Royal Rumble, it would almost have to be some kind of a street fight, no DQ type angle, which a triple threat would be anyway, because there's no rules in a triple threat. So I feel like that's why the only thing that makes sense to me is they do a triple threat here. Is there's going to be some kind of an angle. Yeah, Randy and KO were on the same page tonight. They're both baby faces. KO's laughing it up, having a good time watching Grayson Waller and Austin Theory get their butts whooped. But Randy Orton was also the guy who took Kevin Owens out of the Elimination Chamber. So there's going to be some kind of an angle there. So maybe next week they set it up where Randy's trying to swoop in and challenge Logan Paul for the United States Championship. And Kevin Owens goes, wait. Randy, I love you. I respect you. But this guy has been screwing me over for 4 or 5 months. You're not taking my spot at WrestleMania. This is my spot.
You're damn right.
So maybe
that's a good idea. Hey, write all this down.
Once in a while.
No, write all this down and send it to WWE Creative and tag the Rock, make him sign for it so you know he got it. Then if they use any of your ideas, then sue them because you came up with it first, and he's got a certified letter, so he's got to sign for it. Wait a minute. Hey guys, look, fans. I apologize for my crappy picture, but my computer would not work with me, and I was running late, so I had to come on here and just make an appearance. You can't hardly see me. It's like looking through a smoke-filled room, but
Dutch, at least You've never looked better.
Well, thank you very much. What's that saying? It's Randy Savage.
Yeah, he's seemingly confirming our suspicion.
Randy Savage.
That was Randy Savage.
He didn't expect the table to break. Did you know that?
I didn't even know that he had the first spot. So,
well, he told me, he said, I was there. I mean, I wasn't out there with him, but back in the dressing room, he said, I didn't think it would break, but it was one of those crappy tables with no support. I thought he'd killed Ricky. I really did. So, any more questions? Are we done?
I am looking through here. I think we're good. What you got going on, Dutch? Where can people find you? Plug your YouTube channel, all the good stuff.
I'm going to be doing a signing May the 10th and the 11th in Evansville, Indiana. And it's going to have a lot of the old Memphis guys there. Lawler's going to be there. Dundee. Who else? Austin Idol is there. Handsome Jimmy is there. I'm there. So it's going to be, they wanted to have it at the old Evansville Coliseum where we used to have wrestling every Wednesday night. It's being repaired, so they moved it down. And it's they got a big National Guard army there, so they moved it there. So we'll be there Friday and Saturday, May the 10th, May the 11th. I'll be there. Come see me.
All right. Follow him at Dirty D Mantell on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Follow me at Rick Ucchino if you'd like. All my work for SI and SB Nation. And by the way, in the coming weeks, I'll be having a special book review coming out in the next few weeks.
What is that? Oh, Becky Lynch.
Yes, I got
Is
one of
that
the first.
good?
Oh,
Is it
dude,
good?
it's better than advertised. It is so much better than advertised. It is very, very good. My full review is going to be out before this book is available to the public on March 26th. So
anything you can share from it right now?
Yeah, not exactly PG language. I'll say that much. It's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. It puts you right into the mind of the man herself, and it's great. I honestly can't dive any more into that. I've been told not to yet. So I will again just watch out for my full review. It's going to be up my Twitter page.
How much is the book?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but you can pre-order it right now. However much it is, I'm telling you, it's worth it. Right now, it's worth it. So
okay.
I'll have that up on SB Nation later on this month. So follow me up there, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Take care.